What is one thing every Amazon seller eventually asks themselves? Typically, it's when should I diversify off Amazon or how can I get more traffic onto Amazon? So in this video, I'm gonna answer all of those questions and give you real data from actual calls I have with clients and how the results have been for them. So if you're an Amazon brand doing between 30K to 100K a month on Amazon, this might be the worst move you can make right now. And for full transparency, I have videos about this on YouTube. How to use external traffic like meta ads to your Amazon listing, TikTok shop methods, obviously Google ads. So that stuff works. But in your current situation right now, it might not be the best decision. And right now in this video, I'll go over why that is. And instead of focusing on that, how we can double down on Amazon to then focus on these other methods in the future. So let me give you a scenario. I've had two calls with two Amazon founders. One doing between 10 to 15K a month, other one doing between 500K a month. First guy was talking about how he needs more TikTok shop marketing because my competitors are doing it. They're bringing all this traffic, so I need to start doing it. Totally cool. Next guy doing 500K a month. He said, hey, my competitor is doing $1 million a month plus, and he is running so many TikTok shop ads and meta ads. I've tried it out, but it's not working. And it's not working, right? And for both these people, I had two different solutions. First, the guy doing between 10 to 15K a month. You don't understand how much volume and money you actually need to figure out these other marketing channels. What's the phrase everyone uses? Shiny object syndrome. This always happens for anything you do, any business opportunity, because you see someone else doing this other opportunity and you think they're making so much more money and you think it's easier than just running more PPC ads or scaling on Amazon. So it's like, oh, well, let me run TikTok ads, let me send more samples, let me start just running meta ads. And it all looks good until you start doing it and it doesn't work. The guy doing 500K a month, he was spending close to 200K a month on Amazon PPC. And he was telling me his PPC was not working at all, just not profitable and stuff like that. So he tried running meta ads, he tried doing this other stuff, didn't work. Well, it's because why not just double down on your Amazon side and figure out what the main bottleneck is, solve that first, and then you can try out these other methods, right? So it's always like my competitors are doing it. Amazon's getting harder. I need Shopify, Meta, TikTok to scale. And you're just being reactive because something in your Amazon funnel is not working right now, okay? So the first thing is to figure that out because these other channels are just as hard. For TikTok shop, you need to send thousands of samples. Do you have the cash flow for that? For meta ads, can your product even become profitable? It doesn't have enough margin. Do you have enough creative volume? Are you sending to your own website or to your Amazon listing? Those are two different things. So these are all different problems that you have to address before looking at these new opportunities, like a grand opportunity where you can make way more money. Now let's address the thing your competitors are doing this, that, and they're crushing it, so I should start doing it. More often than not, they're not playing the same game as you. When you see a competitor winning on Meta or TikTok, you're seeing just the surface level, not the full cost structure beneath it, right? And they're succeeding on these external channels because they're typically spending as much off of Amazon or on Amazon than they are there. So unless you have the capital and team for this, it doesn't make sense for you. For example, if Amazon spend is 40K a month on PPC and everything, and external spend is 40K on Meta, TikTok, creatives, everything like that. And to be fair, right, 40K on Meta is itself needed. 40K on TikTok itself is needed due to creative volume and sending enough samples. So do you have enough to even invest in these other channels? If you're going to talk about, hey, I'm spending 30K a month on Amazon PPC, what if I put 5, 10K on other channels? It's not going to work because on TikTok, that's way too low to even figure anything out. You need months to garner more data just to figure out what's working and what's not working, okay? Meta ads, same exact thing. It takes months on creative volume and testing. And the biggest thing is, are my margins even going to be good enough? Because you have to consider Meta and TikTok, you're not paying for Amazon PPC, but you're paying to acquire that customer. You're paying to acquire more search volume, right? So that's still the cost of ads. And the worst thing is, these are not warm buyers, which I'll go over later in this video. So like I said, every channel has its own struggles, right? Meta, creative production, audience testing, messaging iteration, copywriting, right? Before it even becomes a single profitable sale. That's why a lot of D2C brands don't even go to Amazon because they just focus on Meta, right? That's their main channel, Meta to their own Shopify website to get sales, stuff like that, which works, right? But for you as an Amazon seller, you're trying this out, it's a whole new ball game, okay? Now let's get on TikTok side. Product examples, creative sourcing, content volume, constant testing to find out what goes viral, right? You need to send out a lot of samples and you have no way of actually getting a return. Versus on Amazon, if we're running PPC ads, you know you'll convert a customer. You can track all this really precisely. For TikTok, you need a lot of volume, right? Those highs and lows. You can really explode if your videos go well, or you can do nothing and waste thousands and thousands of dollars on ads, right? Shopify, same thing, right? You need to fill out your entire store, The conversion rate has to work. You have to build out email flows, maybe through Klaviyo or something, right, to get more customers and retain those customers, right? So every single one of these channels has its own problems. So it's not like, hey, my Amazon is not working. Let me try out these other things to get more traffic from my Amazon brand or my Amazon product. But these other things have their own challenges too. Now, another thing is just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it works for you, right? A channel success on one thing won't work for the other. You know how many brands I talk to that are doing super well on Shopify, their Amazon sucks. Their Amazon's doing so well, their Shopify sucks. They're doing well on TikTok, but the other two channels are not working well, right? Everything has its unique context, right? From different products, different categories. For example, your product might not work as well on TikTok or Meta if you're selling like a household product, like scrubs or something. Are people even going to resonate with that? Not really. It's a household product. So how do you know how you get a market elsewhere, right? That's another thing. Margins, right? If you have a low margin products or are below like $30 for a unit price, right? And you probably don't have any lifetime value, which I mean, you're not selling supplements or anything that you can retain on the back end. You're going to get crushed because paid acquisition costs so much on these channels. For Meta ads to Google ads to TikTok shop, you're still going to be crushed because you're acquiring new customers who don't even know about your product yet. When on Amazon, they're already looking to buy your product, right? Like I said again, different audiences. Your buyers may live on Amazon, not TikTok, and different timing, right? When you are in your brand life cycle changes everything about what's possible, okay? Every brand goes through their own cycle. Consumers go through their own cycle, right? If you look at the funnel, right? We have a funnel where top of the funnel, people are not aware. At the bottom of the funnel, they are aware. So the people on Amazon are always aware, right? So that means they're already ready to buy. So we just have to convert them into buyers at that stage right there. So what is the main reason brands start looking outside of Amazon? You're probably in this current situation also. Rising cost per click, becoming more expensive to run more sponsored product ads, you're not making it as high enough for your keywords anymore. Your competitors are much cheaper and undercutting you and it doesn't look good, right? Now, on the reverse side, you probably have your top competitors who are making way more than you doing external traffic, right? They're doing Meta, influencers, TikTok, and you're seeing all the insane revenue they're doing and you're thinking, oh, I need to start doing this too. How do I start doing this, right? Another trap right there. Next thing is the profit versus ranking trap, right? Every time you push for more profit, your rankings drop. Every time you push for more sales velocity, your profit disappears. And this pretty much tension creates urgency to find a way out where you can grow, scale properly while maintaining your profitability. Real quick, if you need help scaling Amazon and you want an audit of your brand, click the first link in the bio and we'll do a quick audit for you going over exactly how we can help you scale. So the goal is not to leave Amazon. Diversification isn't about abandoning Amazon, it's about reducing dependence on a single channel you don't control, which is most people eventually want to get to a point. But the issue is getting to that point is the first thing, right? Now, let's talk about building on Shopify. Every dollar spent on ads builds your customer list, your data, and retargeting pool. So you're pretty much investing in your own asset, right? But the issue is you're gonna have to retain all that on your back end. You're gonna have to get new customers constantly, right? That's the biggest thing. Now, competing on Amazon, right? Every dollar spent on ads builds Amazon's marketplace, right? So obviously you're not building a customer base really. People say you are, right? Sponsored brand, you can retarget people, but typically people on Amazon, they're already buying what they want to buy, right? So that's just what it is, right? You're competing inside the platform by the rules. But the thing is, you're already competing for customers who already want to buy your product. So you don't have to create awareness. And a lot of most Amazon native brands or people who, Amazon is your main channel, the people who are buying your product are already aware of it. So you can really be specific in targeting them, very specific to the point. Versus these other channels, you have to build this awareness. And that's not an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of time and iteration. So to double down on that, right? Customers on Amazon already want to buy your product. You're just competing on ranking, reviews, conversion rate, right? Intent is already there. It's the bottom of the funnel. Now Shopify, Meta, TikTok, customers don't know they want your product, right? And most people don't know how to create demand, educate on their product, persuade, convert with good deals, right? So it's very hard, right? It's a completely different ballgame. So never assume that these new acquisition channels are so, gold mine of gems, right? Your competitors probably spent thousands of dollars spending an iteration of figuring out how it works. And most people might not have enough cash flow for that. So a big issue native Amazon sellers think is like you're just adding on these external traffic methods, right? To get more traffic onto your Amazon brand or overall e-com brand. But that framing is wrong, right? Because a new challenge, yes, is a new business system and it's a new opportunity, but it demands time, capital, and capacity, right? Like I said, creative volume, testing budget, right? 10K to 30K a month just to test out stuff to see what works. Time to learn, months, not weeks, right? Funnel complexity, landing pages, emails, everything. Unless you have the cash flow to do all this and risk burning that money to test it out, then yes, it works. But if you're in a stage where you're trying to figure out how I can scale my sales on Amazon, because it was doing better before, or you just hit like a bottleneck and you're stuck, first think about how it can double down on Amazon. Now, the worst that you can do when trying to diversify is you cause your Amazon performance to get weaker. For example, let's say you move more resources to the other channels. Maybe you cut out your PPC budget a little bit because you're like, it's not performing well, right? But then when you see a little bit later, your Amazon will decline, right? Because although your campaigns might look like they're not profitable or not doing well, they might be bringing in a lot more organic sales, right? So now you're not feeding enough data, so you're not getting as much sales. So your position organically on the first page, second page keeps dropping. So your sales drop over time, right? And then you wonder, what do I do now? I lost my performance. And then you're going to increase your budget, try to get back up, and that's going to be even harder. So that's a really bad thing you want to do. If you plan on diversifying into other channels, don't cut out your Amazon budget. If you have the budget elsewhere to invest into these channels, then look into it. Okay, now let's get into what actually matters. So what should you do first? How can we double down on Amazon and get enough cash flow to even look into stuff in the future, or maybe not even worry about it, right? So there's so many things on Amazon you can always do, especially if you're a brand that you're already doing like good enough sales. You just want to double down, right? First thing is, how can I improve my click-through rate, right? How can I optimize my main image, title, pricing, coupons, deals, anything to get in front of more customers and get them to click onto our listing. This also ties with running better PPC ads, right? Next thing is improving conversion rate, right? How can you do that? Better A+ content, bullet points that sell, getting more reviews, better infographics, video ads, tons of stuff to get more conversion rates, right? Because that all feeds into higher keyword ranking. Now, the next thing, obviously, most people struggle with is fix your PPC, right? The biggest thing is like eliminating wasted ad spend. You're probably bleeding tons of money every month. That's hard to isolate, right? Isolate top performers, right? Double down on what's working and cut out what's not working, and rebuild your campaign architecture to get more higher keyword ranking to get more organic sales, right? Next thing is better keywords. Every week, every 2 weeks, look into your search term reports, look into any tools you use to see the search volume of the top keywords in your market to see what can I double down on that I don't have really good organic ranking on right now, right? So you want to mine those search term reports, find those high intent phrases, and defend your organic ranking. Next thing is, if you want to improve your lifetime value or overall get more out of each customer, your cost to acquire a customer, and you want to make more in the back end, how can I add new variations, right? New sizes, flavors, new bundles to get more value upfront, right? How can I launch new products in the same market, right? These are all things you can do first and figure out to scale on Amazon itself, especially if you already have the infrastructure in place. So when I'm talking to you right now, hopefully you're still watching this long, you are selling on Amazon right now and you're already doing good enough well. You're doing over 10, 20, 30, 50K, 100K, 200K, and you're trying to figure out how can I scale further, right? So when you want to do that, first look into what can I improve on the Amazon channel. And the good thing is Amazon already gives you the leverage, right? Like I said, built-in buyer intent, earned social proof, you have organic ranking. Unlike Shopify and these other channels, you pay for $1 and you get $1 on the back end, right? Versus on Amazon, when you pay for $1 and get a sale, you might get 2 more sales in the future by having higher organic ranking, right? Which is it's a ranking system game. The entire thing is just how I can get more sales so I can get another sale on the back end, right? So that's very, very important. Once you master this though, you're going to be crushing it for a long, long time. But the hardest thing is figuring out how to do this, right? And the thing is, I'm not saying you have to become the top 1, 2, 3 competitor in your space with the #1 BSR rank. It's just how can I get my product from my main keywords on the top half of page 1 so I'm not so reliant on PPC always. So to double down on that, like I said, economics matter. On Meta, you pay for every click and every sale, right? Your cost to acquire a customer can frequently exceed the margin on your product already, right? Especially if you're selling a product under $40, it's gonna be very hard to scale, right? So you need a lot of lifetime value and repeat purchase behavior, right? Like supplements or anything else that's subscribe and save. Versus on Amazon, your organic rankings deliver compounding, zero cost to acquire customers because you're getting free organic sales. So a strong organic position is a really appreciated asset that gets better over time. So before you ever test out any external channels, calculate your break-even cost to acquire a customer. And if your product can absorb a $25, $60 customer acquisition cost, external paid channels will pretty much destroy your margin before you learn anything useful. If I was in your shoe, what would I do, right, to fix my Amazon channel? First thing is fix Amazon. Diagnose what is the main bottleneck you're dealing with right now on Amazon. Maybe it's super high cost per click. Maybe you're overspending on ads. Your conversion rate's poor. Your click-through rate's poor. Your margins aren't good enough because the price on Amazon your competitors have is way too cheap, right? First, figure out how I can diagnose this and is it even fixable, right? When it's fixable, right, you've determined anything. The second thing is how can I attain high keyword ranking, right? Look into your search term report, look into everything, look into your strike zone keywords. So we call that keywords you're ranking between 20 to 100 organically, right? And the ones that are super relevant, where you have high search volume and your competitors are ranked well for, how can I double down and increase my search volume on this over time and get higher and higher from organic ranking, right? So that includes calculating the average sales velocity on that keyword. How much do I need to get higher ranking? If I'm doing 5 sales on this keyword and I need 12 every 2 weeks to get up higher, how much more of a PPC budget do I have to put on this keyword? What does my conversion rate have to stay at? What does my click-through rate have to stay at? This is all very, very important, right? Now, the next thing is your TACoS and ACoS, right? Always be calculating this. If your ACoS is pretty high, make sure your TACoS is dropping at the same time, because that means you're getting more organic sales from running a little more aggressive ads. Versus if your ACoS shoots up and your TACoS shoots up at the same time, you know something's wrong. It's not working. Something's messed up in your system, right? So we got to fix that. And then the last thing is, if you want to focus on external channels, pretty much, you have to build cash flow. If you don't have cash flow, it's going to be very, very hard. So only begin when Amazon profits can fund that entire learning phase. So to finish off, diversification is a second engine. It can absolutely crush it for you in the long run. But you only want to build it when your first engine is strong, which is Amazon, right? Not when your Amazon engine is broken and you're looking at your competitors and you're like, I have to do this now. I have to do this now because they're doing it. You're just chasing shiny object syndrome, right? Everyone does it, and it's a bad thing. So the first thing you do is stabilize Amazon, optimize, scale profitably to the point where you have more cash flow. And then when you have enough cash flow, identify if these other channels even make sense for you. Maybe TikTok doesn't make sense for your product. It has no demand. Maybe Meta is too expensive, right? Maybe Google doesn't make sense either. Look into these other channels, right? And then if you identify there is an opportunity there, set aside a new budget for that, a testing budget for maybe 2 to 3 months just to test it out. Don't think you're going to scale right away and just crush it. That's not how it works, right? But you want to have enough leeway to figure out these other channels. And the first thing you need to do is get your Amazon scaling to the point where you have more cash flow. So I'll link to another video somewhere around here about how you can scale on Amazon. It's a full PPC blueprint that we created, 3 hours long, of how to scale and run PPC ads profitably. If you need help scaling your brand on Amazon, click down below to get your free Amazon audit. My team will do an in-depth analysis of your account right now. Where are you wasting money? What is the opportunity? And create a specific 120-day blueprint to help you scale. So to get that free audit, click the link down below and peace out.